Hello everybody, how are you doing? A very warm welcome to my channel. It's so good to see you again. If we've never met before, my name is Alison and I'm a 50-something witch living here in Chesterfield in Derbyshire in the north of England. And if we've met before, hello again. It's so lovely to see you again. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful spring Sunday here in England. Now, I'm here to talk about all things witchy lifestyle, mundane lifestyle as well, all the things that we have to deal with in our busy modern lives. And I'm so happy that you're here with me today. I love talking about different aspects of witchcraft, and one of the things that I really love about this channel is the way that people speak to each other and talk to each other in our community posts and in comments on my videos. I absolutely love that, and I really hope that we can use this as a way to learn from each other. And one of the things that I've always tried to get across, I think, is that none of us has got all the answers, and it's great to have a situation like this where we can talk to each other, learn from each other, bounce ideas off each other. And that's not going to be any more true than it is of the topic that I want to talk about today, and that's about our books of shadows. Now, if you're a regular viewer to my channel, you'll know that I refer to my book of shadows quite often. It's something that I use in my everyday craft, and this particular book means a lot to me, and I am aware that there's quite a lot of myth and mystery surrounding what constitutes a book of shadows. And so today I thought that we'd spend some time doing a revised and updated edition, if you like, because I have spoken about my book in a previous video quite early last year, I think, when I first started posting videos regularly, and there was a lot of interest in it, and it still gets watched quite a lot, which I find really interesting. And so I know from things that you've said to me that this is something that you're really interested in. So this week's video is going to be about how to put a book together, and to talk about what you might want to include in it, and also to give you some reassurance that it doesn't have to be something that is set in stone. It's something that is yours and something personal to you. So the first thing I'm going to do is talk to you about the reasons why you might want to have your own book of shadows. So here we go. When we finish chatting about the hows and whys of a book of shadows, I'm going to create a little springtime spread in my book that you can work on along with me if you want to, or hopefully get some ideas for a spread of your own. Now, when you set off along the path of the witch, you're going to hear lots of phrases, expressions that are not going to mean much to you initially, and that's no more true than it is of the words book of shadows. And you might also hear the terms grimoire, book of mirrors, journal, and we'll talk about what each of those means. But first off, the book of shadows wasn't actually much of a thing until Gerald Gardner created Wicca in the 1940s. And in those days, witchcraft tended to be very under the radar, and groups practiced largely undercover because, don't forget, being a witch was still illegal in those days. And the groups practiced, as I said, largely undercover, and they had quite a strict hierarchy in line with Wiccan philosophy. And the book served as a place where the coven could keep records of their magical workings, of what they'd done, of how well it had gone or not, what they'd used, when they'd actually done their working, the reasoning behind it. and it served as a reference for them going forward. It was usually looked after by the high priest or high priestess of the coven, who do the actual writing in it. And although the group members might have had their own books of shadows as well, the communal coven book was the most important, and the book would be very important going forward because it would be passed down through the coven as members passed away, and there was always a record of the groups working. These days, more and more witches are solitary. Although there are still lots and lots of active covens, the most common way for somebody to practice witchcraft is on their own, whether they're Wiccan or not, whether they're following some other path. So the use of a book, or a book of journals, a book of shadows, has become more and more commonplace among solitary witches like myself. You might also have heard the word grimoire. This crops up quite a lot in witchcraft, and this book has no connection to Wicca. It's a completely separate entity, and this is something that I think most of us, if we do have a book, it's probably something that's more akin to a grimoire than a book of shadows. Now, in its true sense, a grimoire is not anything related to Wicca. Grimoires date back thousands of years, as far back as Mesopotamia, and the first ones were, literally written on clay tablets, and they are a record of magical working, but as I said, they are a historical item and are not related to anything Wiccan. You might also have come across the term Book of Mirrors, and basically this is a place of reflection, as its name suggests, where you can consider your personal development, any workings that you've done, and how you've found them, how you found that they've impacted you personally. And yeah, it's more of a journal situation than an actual book of shadows or grimoire. Now, the thing is, when you start trying to learn about a book of shadows and what you should or shouldn't be putting in there, it can get a little bit overwhelming, and I am here to tell you that you can have your own book, you can call it whatever you want, and you can put whatever you want in there. It's your book, it's your craft, it's your rules. Now, I understand that there might be particular practitioners who are watching this who think that it's really not the done thing to have a book of shadows if you aren't Wiccan. That's fine, if that's what you think and believe, that's fine. I'm not here to tell anybody that they shouldn't do things a certain way. I respect that there are kind of rules in place for people who follow certain paths, but I don't gatekeep, and I want people to enjoy their craft and everything that goes with it. And if you feel happiest calling your notebook, your journal, a book of shadows, that's absolutely fine. You call it what you want. So the first thing you're going to want to consider is the actual book itself. Now, are you going to use a physical book, which is my preferred kind of book, or are you going to use a digital book, as in a Word document that you keep on your computer? It's traditional to handwrite your book, but we are modern witches and we use what we've got. So if the digital way forward is the one for you, that's absolutely fine as well. But I love to write, and I like an actual tangible book that I can pick up and take out with me, so that I can do some at work while I'm out and about. So yeah, for me it will always be an actual physical book. Now this one came from a shop called The Range that we have here in the United Kingdom. It's kind of a big home stationery craft DIY store, and I'm a regular visitor, and I found this one there. I really love this book because the paper is lovely. It's a really nice lined, I like lined paper, kind of ivory colour, creamy ivory, and I really love that. And I also love it because it's got this pocket at the back where I can keep little bits and pieces, and I really enjoy this book. There are lots and lots available. There are lots of really elaborate ones, but this one, I think it cost me about £5. It's got quite a hard back, and the triple moon stickers, I got these from eBay, and they're starting to wear a little bit now, so I might consider taking them off and redoing the cover. I don't know yet, we'll see. But more about the book as we progress. What are you going to put in your book? Now, you can put absolutely anything you want in your book. This is your craft, these are your rules. So you might want to do records of any of your magical workings that you do, if you do magical workings, of course. And you might want to note what you did, why you did it, what you used, what phase of the moon you did your workings. Anything you want to put in this book is absolutely fine, and you can use it to refer back to, and you can use it to help to develop your craft going forward. Because if you're reading back on your results and thinking, well, you know what, that didn't really work for me, I wonder why that was, you can go back to your book, you can see what you did, and you can fine-tune the working for next time. I personally have done this a number of times, and I was really glad that I'd made notes of what I'd actually done, because then I could look at it and think, I think maybe that there was where it went wrong, and I think maybe that might be what I need to look at going forward. So in that respect, it served as a really handy tool for me. You can use your book to write about anything that particularly interests you. Now, I've started using my book more regularly for tarot journaling, and I've really enjoyed using it for this purpose. And I've noted the card that I've chosen. It could be a card that's particularly spoken to me for some reason, or ones that I've done at a particular time of the year, and I thought that were particularly pertinent at that time. So I've taken a colour copy of the card. It's for my personal use, so that's absolutely fine. I put it in the book, and I've written my thoughts about that particular card, and I found that really helpful to go back to and to think about how that card made me feel and what I interpreted in that particular card. And I've found that that's something that I'm doing a lot more often. And you could use it for any other divinatory work that you enjoy. The results that you've got from your pendulum, for example, or for any scrying work that you've done. That would be a really interesting thing to look back on. So yeah, any divination work, any spell work would be a great topic to start with in your new book. You can use your book to write about particular kinds of magic that you really enjoy. For example, I love to use candles in my magic, and I wrote a piece about candle magic in my book, different coloured candles and their correspondences, by which I mean the things that those colours are said to represent in magic. And that's something that I really enjoy. I've also used my book to write about the different herbs that I really enjoy using. I love using herbs in my craft, in my magic, in my spell work, in my everyday life, and I've found that really, really helpful to refer back to again, and I enjoy adding to that. So that's something that has really benefited me in my craft. I think the best thing to do is for me to show you inside my book, and so you can see exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Now, there will be a couple of pages that are clipped together because those things are for my eyes, and it's nothing personal. It's just that this is my own book. This is something that's deeply sacred to me, and it will give you a better idea of the kind of things that you can put in your book. And if you want to take my ideas and make them your own, that is absolutely fine, absolutely no problem at all. So let's take a seat at the desk and you can have a look and see what I've been up to in my book as time's passed, and I hope that you enjoy looking with me. Whenever I'm working with my book, I like to start by just lighting a little bit of incense, just to clear the space that I'm working in and to give me a little bit of focus, and to just set the tone and the atmosphere for the work I'm going to do. Today I'm not going to leave the incense burning. I normally would, but George is with me in the bedroom, and I don't like to have incense burning around him for too long because of his little lungs, and I don't want him breathing it in. So yeah, I'm just gonna clear the space with the incense, and then I'm going to waft my book with it just to clear its energy and get it ready for work. And yeah, that's how I prepare my working space. I've mentioned before that whenever I'm doing anything, even vaguely witchy, that George likes to join me, and today was no exception. I always start work with my book by just sitting with it for a few moments, just focusing on what I'm going to be doing and thinking about what I'm going to be putting in my book, and just giving myself some focus and some quiet time before I start work. The first thing you'll see in my book is a blessing, and I do call my book a book of shadows, and that's something that I'm comfortable with. So I'm happy to have this blessing at the front of it, and basically it's just to protect the book and to give me a little bit of inspiration when I start working in it. And the first thing I did when I started putting my book together was to put a depiction of the Fool tarot card at the front of the book, and I felt that this was really important because the Fool is taking a leap of faith. He's setting out along on his journey, and we follow him through his journey throughout the tarot deck. And this is from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and I love this depiction of the Fool, and I just thought that it was really appropriate to put this at the beginning of the book. And the first thing that I learned about when I was setting this book up was how to consecrate a tarot deck. So I found some information and I put this in the book. Now, I have absolutely no aversion to cutting stuff out and putting it in my book if it's something that I think is going to help me. So I found that, and in it went, and I still use that particular method to this day. So going through the book, I wrote a full moon ritual, and as you probably know, if you've followed my channel regularly, you'll know that I like to keep my full moon ritual very simple, and this is just a quick write-up of what I do. Now, this you'll notice it isn't elaborate at all. This was in the very early days of me putting a book together, and I hadn't been practicing all that long. And that's another point that I want to make. You don't have to fill volume after volume if you don't want to. I don't write in my book every single day. I only put in there what I think's really important, if it's something that I feel really drawn to do. So I first started putting this book together in, I think it was 2014, might have been a little bit after that actually, probably 15. So this book is about 10 years old and I've nowhere near filled it, but that's fine. I'm not in a hurry to fill it. This is my personal journey, and this is for me. It's not to impress anybody, it's not to compete with anybody, it's for me. So I also put a binding spell in here as well, and I do like a good binding spell, and if this is something that you might be interested in hearing about at some point, we can definitely talk more about that. And this was to do with tarot. This was a write-up of the Fool's journey through the tarot deck, and I really enjoyed just putting these notes together, and I still refer back to it sometime. Even though I read tarot quite a lot, I still like to refer back to my own notes from time to time. Well, what you will notice is that this book is not in any particular order, and what I see a lot of witches doing is splitting their books into specific sections, and I think that that's fantastic. And going forward in my next book, I may well do that. I don't know yet. I haven't really thought about it because I'm nowhere near my next book yet. But I also know a lot of witches who have a loose kind of A4 ring binder as their book of shadows, and they put their sheets of paper into separate punched pockets, as we call them, so that they can move them about if they want to. And I think that's a brilliant idea. Now, I use that for my rituals. My ritual folder is kept like that, but I think that using a similar method for a book of shadows is also a fantastic idea, and if that works for you, that's fantastic. So yeah, this is some spell work I did, and there's lots and lots of different notes. There's some notes from an incense workshop that I went to, and I kept the handout from that, and that went in my book, and I find that really, really helpful. I absolutely love making incense, and this was when I was first starting out, so this workshop was really, really helpful. And again, if making incense is something that you'd like to learn more about, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely put something together about that for you, because I never pass up the opportunity to make incense. I absolutely love it. So yeah, as I say, cut out bits and pieces that I find helpful and interesting, and I like to write up and I am not an artist. That'll become very apparent. I love to make things with my hands, but painting and drawing are not my forte, but I'll always have a go. And as I said, this is my book, it's my craft. It isn't to impress anybody, it's just for me. So what's in here is just to benefit me. So I don't care if it's not a particularly beautiful drawing that's in there. This was an abundance spell bag, which I've still got. It lives on my altar. And I did something about moon oil and moon water, which I use all the time. I wrote up a simple protection spell, and yep, I've found some more bits and pieces. This was from one of those Zoltar machines on the seafront at Scarborough, and I just think they're hilarious and I love them, and they remind me of the film Big, if you've ever seen that. And I just I love them, and I always get one when we go to Scarborough, and I just kept this one because it was a little reminder of a really, really happy time, and I just loved it. There's some writing about Sabbats and things that I had planned for Samhain this particular year, and I really enjoyed putting these things together. And I love little stickers and, you know, pretty labels and anything that really helps what I've put in my book to stick in my mind, because I'm very visual. I've mentioned this before. I like to have an image of what I've done in my head, and when I close my eyes, I can see this image in my head, and that brings me some comfort. If I haven't got my book with me, I can still see the work that I've done, and that makes me really happy. So this particular Samhain, I wrote a little ritual to use myself on Samhain night, when all the kids had gone home and it was quiet and I was just alone at home, ready to honour my ancestors. So I enjoyed putting that together, and I put little reminders in for myself, you know, for self-care, and just little bits and pieces that I've picked up when I've been out and about. I bought this little string of beads in Scarborough. I think it's a bracelet, and I just thought it was lovely to go in the book because it reminded me of my favourite place. And the point I'm trying to make is that there's nothing that can't go in your book. If it's something that speaks to you, if it's something you love, it can go in your book. If it serves to help you, to make you feel better, to give you a little bit of a lift and to learn from, then it belongs in your book. As far as I'm concerned, there are no rules. But one thing you will notice is that I do quite a lot of work with gratitude, and I try to focus on everything that I'm really, really grateful for, because I think it's very important, even when you're feeling absolutely shocking, if things are going wrong in your life, I think it's really important to try and keep in mind what you have got that you are grateful for. And I'm talking about taking it right down to its base level. I'm talking about the real kind of creature comforts that make you feel better. It can be something as simple as, I mean, I've mentioned, you know, cold milk, fresh bread, little things like that. All those little things that connect you back to yourself and lift your mood and make you feel better. And I try to do a lot of work to do with gratitude to keep myself nice and grounded. And that would be one of my biggest tips for something to include in your book is gratitude work, because I think that as witches we should really be doing that, you know, as an everyday act. Something that we really need to focus on to keep our energy high and our vibe up. So this feather is from a raven at the Tower of London, and I picked it up on the floor while we were there, and I saved it, and I had this years, and I just love it, and I just wanted it to go in my book. It's so soft and beautiful. And yep, from workshops that I've been to, I always keep the handouts and put them in my book. And this was for a protection spell workshop that I really, really enjoyed. I love working protection spells, as you probably know. And some more pictures and some readings. And this was a reading that I was asked to give at a Samhain ritual in 2019. Yeah, that's going back quite a way, and I just loved it. The words are beautiful, and I've used this every Samhain ever since, because I just love it, and it's beautiful. And it actually, I remember when I actually read it at the ritual, it actually had me in tears. It was just beautiful. So I kept that, and that's really, really important to me as well. And these are things that I've cut out and coloured in, and little things that I can visualise and that make me happy. So I've got absolutely no problem doing that. I'll download them, I'll buy them from Etsy or directly from the artist, and yeah, I love doing that. This is again another workshop, and this was some more protective work that we talked about. So yep, the handout came and it went in my book. I did something on full moons, candles that we've already talked about. I love candle magic. And this was a spread on everyday acts of magic, and I really enjoyed putting this together, and it really, really made me think. And it was to do with the little things that we do that have a kind of ripple effect on ourselves and other people. And once I started on this, it was hard to stop. I did limit it to just the 2 pages, but I could have gone on for hours, and I think that this was a really nice thing to do, and something that I'm planning to revisit and add some more little acts in, because I think that these are the things that help get us through the day and help to connect us to ourselves and others. And I think that in these really, really troubled times, that these little acts are very important. And some more lists. Now, I love a good list, and when the seasons change, I particularly love to put myself a little list together of all the things that I really want to do that particular season. So if you know me well, you'll know that when October rolls around, I'm at my happiest, and I particularly enjoy the autumn season. So I do like to do some work to honour that season, and this was one spread that I did for that. And I also love, you know, anything to do with Lammas and Mabon, and so yeah, some more bits and pieces went in my book related to that. I've done some work with the elements and their correspondences, and I did some work on sigils as well. Now, sigils, I don't use them all the time. I'm not what I'd call a chaos witch, but I do like to use sigils when the need arises. So yeah, I've done some work with those, and these pages I downloaded from Etsy, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to put on them yet. They're so beautiful. I don't want to spoil them, but I just love the actual pictures, so I will use them eventually, but for the time being they're just waiting, and I still love to look at them. So yeah, they're fine doing what they're doing. It's absolutely fine. So this was what I meant when I talked about tarot journaling. I'll, you know, pull out a card. This one comes out so many times. It's actually on my altar at the moment because I did a single card pull last week and it came out again. And it's from the lovely Woodland Wardens deck, which if you know me well, you'll know that I absolutely love this particular deck. So yeah, this is it's, yeah, I love doing this and focusing on the meaning of the cards and spending time thinking about what it's trying to say to me. Another list here for spring. This was spring last year, and yeah, I also spoke previously about these lovely downloads that I got from Etsy, and this was an Ostara folder that I bought, and it was just so beautiful and I loved it, and so this has got a place in my book as well. I did some more work on gratitude, and I think that the best time to do this kind of work is when you're feeling particularly ungrateful and particularly crotchety and bad-tempered and feeling like the world is against you. I really think that sitting down with yourself and thinking about what you've got in your life and how lucky you are is a really positive thing to do. I know that sounds like it might be a little bit counterintuitive, but it really, really helps. It really helps me anyway. Some more sigil work and how I actually created the sigil. This is a witch's wheel, and if you'd like me to talk more about this at some point, I will definitely do that. So these were some card readings that I did at the summer solstice. So again, this was from Woodland Wardens, and this was from the Seasons of the Witch Letha Oracle. I really, really liked that one, and you might know if you've watched my channel regularly that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this particular series of decks. On the whole, I really like it, but there are some that I think are absolutely shocking. But the Letha one, I really loved it. So that's why I wanted this particular card to go in my book. Some more gratitude work. This was from Lammas last year. And some more card readings. Again, I've noticed that my book is starting to become more of a place for me to spend time with my cards, which I'm trying to do more of lately anyway, because I've really been enjoying my tarot and oracle decks. So you can see that it's definitely evolving into more of a journal than it used to be. Now, one of the things that I've also started doing is to write about things that are not especially magical, but that are really, really important to me. And as you probably know, I absolutely love the General Cemetery in Sheffield. I was born in Sheffield, I work in Sheffield, and Chesterfield, where I live, is about 12 miles from Sheffield. So I absolutely love the cemetery, and I did a tour video of the cemetery last Samhain, and I absolutely loved it. And I spent some time learning more about the cemetery before I actually did the tour, and I wanted to know where the important sites were. So all of that went on this spread, and I really, really enjoyed putting this together. It's a subject that fascinates me, and it's one of my favourite places. So I thought, yeah, this is going to go in the book. I'm really going to enjoy doing this. And that led me to the next project in my book, which is cemetery symbolism, which is something that really fascinates me. And I did some research on what the different symbols on gravestones actually mean, and this turned out to be a much bigger project than I expected. And by the time Samhain came, I hadn't finished it. So I've got the cutouts of the rest of the symbols that I want to talk about, and I'm going to finish that off this year, and that's going to give me something to look forward to. I've left some space for that, so I'm really going to look forward to finishing that off. And this is a Samhain altar card created by the lovely Rachel, who I'm going to talk more about in a moment. And yeah, I love her work, and this card is beautiful. And I printed this one to go in my book, and I also printed an actual photograph of it to go in a frame on my Samhain altar, and it's so beautiful. I just love these lovely images. You might have seen this in my Yule video, and again, as I said, I love to make plans, and I did some more gratitude work, and I thought that that was a really good time to do some work on gratitude. And you might have seen me doing my garden plans video again. I love to make lists, and this I think is pretty much where I'm up to. So I did recently, I made moon oil and moon incense and moon salt. The moon oil I actually produced to go in my Etsy shop, but the incense and the salt, I've just made those for myself, but I'm so pleased with how they came out, and they're just absolutely lovely. Now the moon edging, I did that using these moon stamps that were a gift from a friend. I have no idea where they were from, but I think these are absolutely fantastic, and I used these with silver ink on black cards, and they look amazing. I love this. And then the last thing I did in my book was the points of the compass spread, and you might have seen this in my last gardening video, because the reason I did this was to decide what's going to go in each of the 4 quarters of my garden. So this is where this came from. Again, this was a download from Etsy, and I loved putting this together. It was a really, really thoughtful process. I really enjoyed researching the plants and the compass points and the correspondences, and I'm still working on this in my garden, and hopefully I'll be in a position to share that with you in the next couple of weeks. Now, I mentioned Rachel a few moments ago, and I wanted to talk to you about these beautiful downloads that she has made for us. Now, if you signed up to my newsletter on my new website recently, you should have got a link to download these for yourself. Now, this came about because I had a bit of a brainstorming session with Rachel a couple of weeks ago, and I said that I'd really love it if we could have a series of prompts to cut out and put in our books that we could use for our plans for spring. Now, I wanted it to be a really positive thing. I didn't want it to be a pressurizing situation. So one of the things that I think the issue with doing lists is that it can put you under a lot of pressure to actually tick those things off, and I think that we're under enough pressure at the moment. And so I thought these prompts that we came up with would be really, really nice, non-pressured words. I hope this is all making sense. I'm just, as usual, I'm speaking from the heart, and I'm talking to you exactly as I'm looking at these things and thinking about them. And one of the things I thought about was that we tend to do a lot of, must-do lists, but I think that that's what puts us under pressure. We're already under enough pressure. So I thought, right, we could do a could-do list. So we could put something on it that we could do, but we might not. It might be something that we really want to do, but we might not get around to it. So we've got a could-do list, and so I think this is going to be part of the spread that I'm going to put together. Anyway, if you haven't got this yet and you want to bag this for yourself, it's absolutely free, and all you need to do is visit my website, which is www.50somethingwitch.com, and sign up for the newsletter, and that will take you directly to a link where you can download it for yourself. So yeah, all these things were things that I told Rachel that I'd love to see included on the download, and off she went, and this is what she came up with. So I love it. It's absolutely brilliant. She completely got what I was talking about. And so yeah, thank you so much for this, Rachel. I love it, and I'm sure that everybody who gets it is going to love it too. I'm going to go ahead and start this project by just making a little tick next to the things that I want to cut out, and I'm going to use this spread to think about what I want to do this spring and the things that I want to do most. So I know that I'm definitely going to want to create something, so I'll put a mark there. I'm definitely going to want to visit some particular places. I definitely want to use the could do list, and I want to have a look. Definitely grow, because I'm working on the garden, as you know, and I'm going to I'm definitely going to read as well. Might do some more as we progress, but for the time being, I'm just going to cut out the things that I know I'm going to use. I've cut out the bits and pieces that I really want to incorporate into this spread, and so I'm going to start putting this together, and this is completely random. I don't know how it's going to look. I'm just going to go with how I feel, but the first thing I'm going to do is edge a couple of these shapes with one of these ink pads, because I really like the effect that doing this gives it. I think it looks a little bit aged, and I just think it looks really pretty. So I'm just going to go around the edge. Not doing this on all of them, but it's just something that I like to do, and it looks nice on the edges of your pages as well if you like to do this. I just think it makes it look a little bit more special. Once I started doing the edging, I couldn't stop, and I went round all the shapes and did them, and I think they look really, really pretty. And I'm just going to plan out how I want to pop these in my book and start sticking them in. All my little pieces are stuck in now, the ones that I want to use anyway. And so I'm going to use these as little prompts for the things that I really, really hope to do this spring. So the first thing I'm going to look at is what I want to grow, and this could be anything. I mean, it could be something that I want to grow in personally, whether I want to grow in confidence or, you know, self-esteem, that kind of thing. But I'm going to use this as its actual meaning, as in I want to grow some different plants in my garden. So I want to grow snapdragons, I want to grow sunflowers, I want to grow some petunias, I want to grow some marigolds, and I'll go back to that in a little while because I'm still thinking about what I want to grow. And I want to create a few new products for my shop and for myself, and the first one I want to create is a restful night. spell bottle. So that's something that I actually want to create physically, but I also want to create a safe and joyful witchy community. On my website. This is a really, really important thing to me, and something that I'm going to be working really, really hard to bring to life. Okay, so visit. I want to visit Arbor Low Stone Circle. This is a place in Derbyshire, not all that far from us, and I really want to take you along for a visit there, so I'll keep you posted about that. I want to visit Bolsover Castle because I've not been since Yule. It's quite a while since I've been up there, and I'm really feeling like I want to go. I want to go to Sutton Scarsdale Hall. Which you know I absolutely love, and you might have been there with me on previous videos. And I'm not sure. I will think about that as we progress. And I want to read books about bees and gardening. Okay, I'm going to spend a bit more time filling this in, and I'll see you back here when I've finished. Okay, I think I'm finished now. I've really enjoyed putting this little spread together, and I've left some spaces so that I can add to it if I want to. But this was a really nice, thoughtful little project, and I hope that if you get hold of these downloads and cut them out and use them for yourself, that you will really enjoy using them. I've loved using them, so thank you again to Rachel. And yeah, I've loved doing this, and I've really enjoyed this little task. Apparently we're not doing any editing anytime soon. I really hope that you've enjoyed spending this afternoon with me while I've been putting this little spread together in my book, and I really hope that if you use the downloads that we've made for you, that you'll tell us all about it, and if you enjoy using it. I'd really, really love to know what you use it for and how it helps you in your own practice. and I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you spent this time with me today, and I really hope that if you are new here that you will consider subscribing to my channel. I would absolutely love that. And also you can connect with me on my new website. The address is below, and yeah, as that continues to grow, I really hope that you will come along with me. It's an exciting new adventure and no idea where it's going to go, but I'm here for the ride, so let's see what happens. Now, I hope you have a great week, and I hope that you will join me again very soon. And if you are celebrating Beltane this week, I hope that you have a really, really happy celebration. So in the meantime, have a fantastic week. Look after yourself. Please keep your light shining. Drop me a line via the website if you want to. There is a dedicated email address on there. I would absolutely love to hear from you, and to hear all about what you've been up to and what you're doing in your own craft. And I hope that in the UK at least that you enjoy the beautiful weather that's forecast for the week ahead, and I will see you very soon. And until we meet again, please look after yourself, keep your light shining, and blessed be.